Have a nice day. Today is Wednesday, 29th of January 2025. This day is known as Peter's Day or Peter Popolo Coram, meaning half faith. Highlight is the reverence of for the chains of Saint Peter believed to have healing powers. January 29 has traditionally been associated with the careful assessment of the livestock feed. Now, according to Indian history, in India, January 29 is celebrated as Indian Newspaper Day. This day honors the publication of Hickey's Bengal Gazette, India's first newspaper in 1780. It is celebrated to recognize the role of the newspaper in shaping society, to promote the newspapers and encourage people to read them, to raise awareness about the importance of the newspaper, to recognize the role of the newspaper in providing accurate information and supporting the democracy. Now, starting the newspaper with the world news, including Trump signs order restraining chemical as surgical sex change procedures for minors. Scientists move a doomsday clock 1 second closer to destruction. Trump determined to impose tariff on the Canada, Mexico on February 1st, says White House. United States judge temporarily blocks President Trump's plan to freeze federal funding. Trump invites Israel's Netanyahu to meet at the White House next week. Day after diplomatic spat, deportation fights from the United States to Colombia resume. Now, starting with the Hindu newspaper, we have United States issue new waiver for humanitarian aid amid freeze. United States Secretary of the State Marco Rubio issued a waiver for life-saving humanitarian assistance during a 90-day pause in the foreign and while Washington undertakes a review. Just hours after taking office a week ago, United States President Donald Trump announced that the pause so foreign aid contribution could be reviewed to see if they align with his America First foreign policy. United States Secretary of the State Marco Rubio issued a waiver on Tuesday, January 28, 2025 for life-saving humanitarian assistance during a 90-day pause in the foreign aid while Washington undertakes a review, according to a State Department memo seen by Reuters. Just hours after taking office a week ago, United States President Donald Trump announced that the pause of foreign aid contributions could be reviewed to see if they align with the America First foreign policy. India sees Middle East region as a crucial passage to world beyond. Dr. S. Jaishankar, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, during the inaugural session of the Raisana Middle East in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. India's strategic interests in the Middle East are highlighted by Minister Jaishankar, emphasizing trade, connectivity, and regional engagement. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar on Tuesday, January 28, 2025, highlighted the significant expansion of the India-Middle East engagement in the past decade, driven by a strong trade connectivity and a people-to-people linkage, saying India sees the Middle East as a crucial passage to the world beyond. Addressing in Abu Dhabi, Mr. Jaishankar said the Middle East region, which India calls West Asia, is crucial to India's strategic interests. The country's trade in the Gulf region amounts to about 160 to $180 billion. Our presence in the Gulf is both pervasive and crucial. More than 9 million Indians live and work here, but the Gulf also serves as a gateway to the MENA region and the Mediterranean, Mr. Jaishankar said. Donald Trump invites Israel's Netanyahu to meet with him at the White House next week. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stands with the United States President Donald Trump. President Donald Trump has invited Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to meet with him at the White House on February 4. President Donald Trump has invited Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to White House next week as the first foreign leader to visit in Trump's second term. Netanyahu and the White House said Tuesday, January 28, 2025. The announcement came as the United States pressures Israel and the Hamas to continue a ceasefire that has paused a devastating 15-month war in Gaza. Talks about the ceasefire's more difficult second phase, which aims to end the war, begin next Monday. F-35 fighter jet crashes in the Alaska, pilot safe. The crash happened while the landing. During that training exercise, the F-35 is the most expensive United States defense program and Lockheed Martin's biggest revenue generator. An F-35 fighter jet crashed during a training exercise at Yellowstone Air Force Base in Alaska on Tuesday, January 28, 2025, but the pilot was safe after bailing out, base officials said. The pilot experienced an in-flight malfunction and was able to eject from the aircraft. United States Air Force Colonel Paul Townsend, commander of the 354th Fighter Wing, told a news conference according to a report from the Associated Press. The crash happened while landing during a training exercise, according to the report. Yellowstone Air Force Base said in a statement that incident on Tuesday afternoon resulted in the significant damage to the F-35 Lightning II aircraft. Now, going towards the Hindustan Times newspaper states that no right to DNA test paternity determined by the legitimacy Supreme Court highlighted that the probe into the personal matters such as paternity must be handled with the utmost care and circumspection. A bench led by the Justice Surya Kant held that the right to dignity and privacy enshrined under the Article 21 of the Constitution must guide courts when evaluating such requests. The Supreme Court on Tuesday ruled that an individual does not have a legal right to seek a DNA test on another person to prove paternity, underscoring that such an inquiry could lead to a collateral infringement of privacy and potentially eviscerate a person's reputation and standing in a society. Highlighting that probe into personal matters such as paternity must be handled with the utmost care and circumspection. A bench led by the Justice Surya Kant held that the right to dignity and privacy enshrined under Article 21 of the Constitution must guide courts when evaluating such requests. Forcefully undergoing a DNA test would subject an individual's private life to scrutiny from outside the world. That scrutiny, particularly when concerning matters of infidelity, can be harsh and can eviscerate a person's reputation and standing in a society. It can irreversibly affect a person's social and professional life, along with his mental health, held the bench, also comprising Justice Ujjal Bugyan. Navigation the complex intersection of the privacy, dignity, and legitimate interests. The judgment sends a clear message that courts must act cautiously when addressing the sensitive matter of the paternity, setting a high bar for judicial scrutiny in the such disputes that intrinsically involve fundamental rights and societal interest. Indian Space Research Organization ISRO marks 100th launch. GSLV F-15 succeeds at placing NVS-02 in planet orbit. The Indian Space Research Organization successfully launched their GSLV F-15 carrying the NVS-02 on 6:23 a.m. at Sriharikota, Andhra Pradesh. This is ISRO's 100th launch from the country's spaceport. ISRO's 100th launch was successfully carried out. GSLV F-15 is the 17th flight of India's geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle GSLV and 11th flight with the indigenous cryo stage. It is the 8th operational flight of GSLV with an indigenous cryogenic stage. GSLV F-15 payload fairing is a metallic version with a diameter of 3.4 meters. Now, going towards the economy of the country from the budget point of view, budget 2025 government impetus are needed for faculty development in the higher education. Industry and academia are not able to connect on research opportunities or secondment opportunities for faculty members because of lack of information and lack of collaboration between the two. Energized and motivated faculty is a key pillar for higher education institutions as enshrined in the National Education Policy 2020. Security and Exchange Bureau of India (SEBI) returns United States-based entrepreneur Digvijay Dani gave out this offer letter for Real stake. Real shared SEBI's response to Gaekwad's proposal to acquire 55% of Real at rupees 275 per share to the stock exchange on Tuesday. Market sources said SEBI did not accept the Gaekwad's offer as it did not fall within the stipulated timelines and it failed to follow the required process, including the appointment of investment bankers. Green energy, artificial intelligence to shape a future of humanity. Mukesh Ambani. Ambani said the transition from the fossil fuels to clean and green energy has to be accelerated. Ambani was speaking at the 12th convocation of the Pandit Deen Dayal Energy University. Now going towards science and tech, we have DeepSeek's new artificial intelligence chatbot and ChatGPT answer sensitive questions about the China differently. DeepSeek's chatbot could not answer questions on the Tiananmen Square incident, but ChatGPT describes the event in detail. Chinese tech startup DeepSeek's new artificial intelligence chatbot has sparked discussions about the competition between China and the United States in artificial intelligence development, with many users flocking to test the rival of open artificial intelligence's ChatGPT. Chinese tech startup DeepSeek's new artificial intelligence chatbot has sparked discussions about the competition between China and the United States in the artificial intelligence development, with many users flocking to test the rival of open artificial intelligence's ChatGPT. DeepSeek's artificial intelligence assistant was the most downloaded free application on the Apple's iPhone store on Tuesday afternoon, and its launch made Wall Street tech superstars stock stumble. Observers are eager to see whether the Chinese company has matched America's leading artificial intelligence companies at a fraction of the cost. The chatbot's ultimate impact on the artificial intelligence industry is still unclear, but it appears to censor answers on the sensitive Chinese topics, or a practice commonly seen on China's internet. In 2023, China issued a regulation requiring companies to conduct a security review and obtain approval before their products can be publicly launched. For many Chinese, the Winnie the Pooh character is a playful taunt about President Xi Jinping. Chinese censors in the past briefly banned social media searches for the beer in the mainland China. Fintech firm CRED joins the Indian Central Bank's digital currency project. The Reserve Bank of India had started a pilot for the e-rupee, which is the digital alternative to the physical currency, in the December 2022. Indian firm CRED has become the first fintech platform to roll out access to India's central bank digital currency, the company said. Tiger Global and Peak 15, backed Indian firm CRED has become the first fintech platform to roll out access to India's central bank digital currency, the company said on Tuesday. The Reserve Bank of India had started a pilot for the e-rupee, which is a digital alternative to the physical currency, in the December month of 2022. Initially, the central bank had permitted only banks to offer the access to the digital currency, but on April 2024 said it will allow payments firms to offer e-rupee transactions. Nvidia faces a reckoning as a Chinese upstart DeepSeek raises questions about Wall Street's darling. Nvidia's root began in gaming. The superstar run for Nvidia's stock the last few years has been astonishing. The superstar run for Nvidia's stock the last few years has been astonishing. So was it tumble Monday, which caused $595 billion in the wealth to vanish. That is about as much as PepsiCo, MC Donald, Starbucks, and Target are the worth combined. Mostly known only in gaming and crypto circles a few years ago, Nvidia burst into the gist after seeing its sales surge because of the customers wanted its chips to train their chatbots and other artificial intelligence products. Nvidia became the household name as its stock more than tripled in the 2023 and then the more doubled in 2024. Investors and analysts launched a CEO Jensen Huang as the godfather of artificial intelligence. Nvidia grew into a $3 trillion plus behemoth and traded places with the titans like Apple to become the most valuable company on the Wall Street. Indian Space Research Organization ISRO 100th mission highlight GSLV F-15 launched successfully from Sriharikota. The Indian Space Research Organization ISRO launched its historic 100th launch from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in the Sriharikota on Wednesday, January 29, 2025. The GSLV F-15 with the indigenous cryogenic stage placed the NVS-02 satellite in the geosynchronous transfer orbit as intended. Team leaders addressed the team expressing gratitude. The Indian Space Research Organization on Wednesday, January 29, 2025 once again morning they launched its historic 100th launch from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota. The GSLV F-15 with the NVS-02 satellite lifted off from the spacecraft's from the spaceport's second launch pad at 6:23 a.m. The first launch of 2025 has been successfully accomplished. The satellite has been placed into the intended orbit, said ISRO chairman Dr. V. Narayan, who assumed charge of the space agency earlier this month. NVS-02, the second satellite in the NVS series, is configured with a navigation payload in the L1, L5, and S bands in addition to the ranging payload in C-band. Like its predecessor NVS-01, it is configured on standard 1 to 2K plus bus platform with a lift of mass 2250 kg and power handling capability of 3 kW. It will be placed in 111.75 degree east, replacing IRNSS 1 east. NVS-02 use a combination of indigenous and procured atomic clocks for precise time estimation. Now, at last, there is a famous personality of India, that is Rabindranath Tagore, whose birth anniversary is 7 May 1861. Up to 7 August 1941 was an Indian Bengali polymath who worked as a poet, writer, playwright, composer, philosopher, social reformer, and a painter of the Bengal Renaissance. He reshaped the Bengali literature and music as well as the Indian art with the contextual modernism. In the late 19th and early 20th century, author of the profoundly sensitive, fresh, and beautiful poetry of Gitanjali. In 1913, the Tagore became the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize in any category, and also the first lyricist to win the Nobel Prize in Literature. Tagore's poetic songs were vivid in spiritual and mercurial, while his elegant prose and the magical poetry were widely popular in the Indian subcontinent. He was fellow of the Royal Asiatic Society, referred to as the Bard of the Bengal. Tagore was known by the sobriquets Gurudev, Kobi Guru, and Biswa Kobi. Tagore modernized Bengali art by spurning rigid classical forms and resisting linguistic strictures. His novels, stories, songs, dramas, and essays spoke to the topics political and personal. Gitanjali, a song offering Goda, Fair Face, and Garibari, the Home and the World, are his best known works, and his verse, short stories, and novels were acclaimed or panned or their lyricism, colloquialism, naturalism, unnatural contemplation. His compositions were chosen by two nations as the national anthems, India's Janaganamana and the Bangladesh's Amar Sonhar Bangla. The Sri Lankan national anthem was also inspired by his work. His song Bangla Mati, Bangla Jol has been adopted as the state anthem of the West Bengal. Actually, Rabindranath Tagore says a very famous quotation. He says that everything comes to us that belongs to us if we have created the capacity to receive it. Okay, thank you.